Welcome to Live from the Gardens, a Animorph podcast about animals and how to be a convincing Animorph. Probably sometime we'll talk about that. This week we'll be talking about the bald eagle and the mole, two of the animals we encountered in Animorphs number 17, the Underground, which we talked about last week on the Dork-Bajir Chronicles. My name is Mikhail, the host.
I'm Tessa, the expert.
And I'm Braden, just one little nub, the little tentacle coming off a mole nose, wiggling around.
Okay, like not all moles have tentacles.
The cool ones do.
The cool ones do, yeah, but not all of them.
The cool, good boys do.
I'm going to do a quick fan mail because we have a correction in from...
Christ.
Yeah, this is eventually going to happen, inevitably.
Mikhail fucked up.
Mikhail,
yeah.
No.
So this is coming from user Blue Magical on the Animorph Discord, and they corrected me, and accurately, mind you. I said that when parrots have eye pinning, do you guys remember what eye pinning is? Where the I said that the pupil, or I said that their eye contracts to it's really small. So in reality, it's actually just the pupil or the iris, that's contracting, not the whole eye.
Not the whole eye.
That was, yes. So fair enough.
God,
I looked that up, and that is absolutely correct.
I was going to choose my major based on that answer. And now I got to change it.
So what did you pick as your major?
I picked
what were you going to pick?
The whole eye.
Pinning. Yeah. On the test for when you have to pick your major.
The test is to become a major. I just wrote down
in the
whole eye.
Okay. They also pointed out to me that we missed a key part of the sex talk, which is that parrots actually do masturbate. And they told me a story about how there was one parrot who masturbated. So they work at, I think it's a parrot reserve or sanctuary or whatever the word is. And there was another parrot there that taught a different parrot how to masturbate.
Oh my God. Just like kids at summer camp.
Pretty great. I didn't go to those kinds of summer camp.
A director I had once told a story about how cats apparently suck each other's nipples still because because they still do it from learning from their mothers, and some cats don't learn the difference between like a nipple and another cat's penis. So like he knew two cats that were constantly sucking each other off.
That's
when you started speaking, I thought you were just going to tell a bit from Meet the Parents. And then it just went in a different direction, like from Meet the Fockers.
All right, Tessa.
All right.
The size... Okay, we're going to do... we said we were going to do bald eagles already.
Yeah.
The size of a bald eagle conforms to Bergmann's rule on size variation within a species. What is that rule?
So Bergman, I actually met him a couple of times. He's a college student from Calgary. And it's typical for college students. He likes to smoke a couple jazz cigarettes every once in a while. And he'll look at birds, and he'll sometimes say that, oh, man, that bird is Berg, man. So his rule on size variation is the bigger the bird, the bigger the Bergman. So he writes his name underneath all of the birds, and the bigger his signature, the bigger the bird is. Because it's Berg, that's pretty good, man.
That's pretty good. I like that.
Thank you.
The real answer is Bergmann's rule, and it doesn't necessarily just apply to within the species, but it doesn't really matter. The rule is the further you are from the equator, the bigger you will be as an organism. So that actually is true for a lot of stuff, even humans. Although we're not talking like height necessarily. We're talking like body mass. Yeah, and also like skeleton, like
just
your frame and stuff.
A very slim, wide person. Like a 10-foot door.
Yeah. Exactly. They're like, what are those things? Sand dollars, but they're standing upright on two legs. Yeah.
So the further away you are from the equator, the bigger you are.
Yes.
That's interesting because, like, Australia, all the spiders are big, even though it's a warm place, but they are far from the equator, even though it's a warm place.
The thing is, Bergmann's rule doesn't apply to everything, right? Because let's say, for example, in the Arctic, there are spiders there, but they're going to be a lot smaller because they frankly just don't have enough time to get big.
They can't,
because they'll die in the winter most of the time,
too
right?
soon.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there's exceptions, obviously, but bald eagles do follow that rule. So even though bald eagles exist everywhere from like northern Canada, or well, Canada anyway, not northern Canada, all the way down to Mexico, the further they are from the equator, typically the bigger they are, and they're big.
And what's funny is that the female bald eagle is always a little bit further from the equator than the male bald eagle, and that's why the females are a little bit bigger.
They're 25% bigger, actually.
That's not a little bit.
That's feminism.
That's pretty huge.
That's feminism in power.
Yeah. Okay, Brayden. Bald eagles exist only in the Americas, but at one point, 2 birds were found in Ireland separately, so not at the same time.
Yes.
What were the circumstances of how they were found?
Okay.
You can just give me one or the other. They're very different circumstances.
Yeah. So, the IRA, actually, they never made their own bombs. They bought them from pretty much anyone they could get their hands on. But this one IRA, real scumbag named Patty McNitt.
Oh no.
Yeah,
mix something.
McSomething or other. Patty McSomething
I heard
or
it was
other.
Patty McDermott, actually.
We never learned his real name. Patty McSomething or other was his IRA bomber street name, and they never revealed their real name. One time, although he has told this story that he bought a bomb from a strange little gray-skinned thing that had big black eyes and wore a trench coat and called itself E.T. And when the bomb went off, killed millions of people. Just millions of people. More destruction. Probably, it killed all of Ireland.
Whoa, okay.
But
that escalated.
Out of the wreckage, when Patty came back, he was actually on vacation at the time. He came back and he was like, "Oh no! Oh, that's unfortunate. Is that a fucking bald eagle?" It turns out a bald eagle was inside the bomb.
And that's how they got there.
Yep.
I was really hoping for an Irish accent at some point that I just did not ever happen.
Oh, diddly dee, there's a freaking bald eagle stealing my potatoes.
Okay, so that's not right, obviously.
Very cool, Brighton. Yeah.
Yeah, right. So the truth is, one of them was pretty uninteresting. A younger bird probably lost, like an adolescent bald
carry
eagle.
It over?
No, it flew over, probably, but it was just found exhausted on the rocks. Another one was actually shot, which is illegal, but it was misidentified as a white-tailed eagle, and I highly recommend people look up white-tailed eagles because if a bald eagle looks like it's just a brown bird that somebody put a white hood over their head, a white-tailed eagle looks like they pulled a hood over their head and did not stop pulling because the white just goes like further down. And to be fair, it's like, yeah, I could see why they might shoot it because if it's legal to shoot them, white-tailed eagles for whatever reason.
So both birds assumedly just flew over.
Yeah.
And
totally.
were their arms tired.
Honestly,
God, how confused were those birds? They just leave Newfoundland and they're like, I'm just gonna go hunt some fish real quick. Oh fuck, this lake is really big.
Very big. All right, Tessa, you teased me earlier that you had a...
Because of my job, we actually did a little... I did some St. Patrick's Day research, and as St. Patrick's Day was just 2 days ago, I felt it would be prudent to share it with you. So you all know how... You've heard the story about how St. Patrick chased the snakes out of Ireland?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know the origin of that phrase?
It was actually like some like minority group, and they just changed it to snakes later.
Druids.
No, it was a bunch of gay
druids.
sects.
Okay, I was trying to be like not lewd about it. So
I know. No, I was actually trying to make a joke because it's pretty sad. Yeah, he basically just like, because he came back to teach Christianity and it was just like, all the druids are gone now.
So wait, it was actually druids?
It's actually druids, yeah. Because
I thought that was a joke.
No,
No,
I didn't know druids were real.
The Druidic faith is like an old pagan religion. And Ireland and Scotland were deep into that. And then Christianity came along and was like, stop.
Well, okay. Well, what, like, how high of a CR rating could they wild shape into, though? Was the real question.
See, but they couldn't wild shape yet because this was just version 1.
Okay.
They couldn't wild shape until version
First
3.5.
They were actually a fighter archetype at the time.
Oh my god. Okay. Tessa, what survival tactic do bald eagles use when food is abundant?
Extreme couponing.
You're absolutely right. Actually, there's a Walmart for birds, and it's called...
Bald Mart.
There it is.
Because it's just for bald eagles, but other birds shop there too. And bald eagles have like this shitty little Facebook group where they'll take pictures of the other birds. It's like, ugh, I saw another crow in Bald Mart. God, I hate crows.
Ospreys of Walmart. Okay. Ospreys are pretty cool. Shout out to ospreys.
Shout out to ospreys.
The real answer is bald eagles, when there's tons of food, will actually store food up to or about a kilogram of food in their
just
throat.
In their cheek pouches.
In their throat. There's a pouch called a crop.
In their throat.
Yeah.
I was so close, and it was just
a kilogram.
That's what the
and a
crop
kilogram is
called.
2.2 pounds.
Okay.
Just to be clear.
So it's just in their throat. They just got a kilogram of meat.
Yeah, and they basically just save it up, so if there's no food later, they can just eat that instead, basically. I'm assuming they have to eat it.
How cool would it be to be a farmer bald eagle? Oh, hey, crop's pretty good this year. Do you mean my food pouch or my parsnips? Oh, well, both there, friendo. Your throat's looking especially voluptuous. Oh, well, thank you, partner. It's been a pleasant summer.
For your throat. It's been a pleasant summer for your fucking throat.
And also for his parsnips. Did you not hear the little play that I put on? It was basically like Death of a Salesman, but happy.
Death of a Bachelor.
Did you know that bald eagles have been seen and reported to have actually hunted? To have hunted geese. Now the question is, how do they hunt geese? And the answer is not while they're sleeping or something like that.
They knock them out of the fucking air. They're bald eagles. Okay, but obviously there's more to it than that.
Always.
So, geese travel in that V formation, right?
Oh, fun fact about V formations. How do you know? So why is one side of the V typically longer than the other side?
Because there's more geese on that side.
Yeah.
Ugh. That's such an old joke, Tessa.
Geese don't count. Geese don't count. Which
they're all
comes
druids.
in handy for the bald eagle because it doesn't even have to leave the sky when it is hunting geese, because like geese fucking travel. This V formation can be seen for goddamn miles. They're basically asking for it, you know? And the eagle just gets so high up that it sees the entire planet at once because the Earth is flat. This is now a flat earther podcast.
Yeah, that took a turn.
And then it just points its nose downward and then just takes its choice and just reaches terminal velocity going downwards. Now, normally, if it hit a goose while it was just dropping down, it would obviously break its bones. It's a bird. It's not a gun. But when it starts going so fast, like the air it hits terminal velocity and it's just got such a sharp fucking beak. What it can do is it can essentially change its velocity so fast that the air current beneath it will shoot towards the goose like a gun and cut it right in half. And then it's got to find it, which is usually fucking hard because most of the planet's ocean. So it actually kills a lot of geese just to get like half a meal.
Yeah, but if most of the planet's ocean,
wasteful.
Just start at the edge and do a perimeter, right? If the Earth is flat, right?
Fuck. You're right. I forgot that earlier part of the bit.
So that's kind of interesting because you touched on a real thing about
All right, time for me to check
eagles.
back into the podcast now that Braden is done saying his long story.
So bald eagles are actually, despite their size, and they are big, like almost
really
6
big.
feet wingspan.
They're almost
which is
the biggest eagle.
The size of like an adult male, basically. They're actually one of the most agile raptors out there. And apparently they're really hard to hunt in places where they are hunted because they're just insanely fast. They can make a lot of quick movements in the air. And because of that, the way that they hunt geese is, for one thing, they actually catch up to geese, which is saying something because, as we all know from Tobias, sort of...
Geese are the Energizer bunnies of the air.
Yeah, they just never stop no matter what. And raptors are not like that. They need to rest a lot more. So it's saying something when I say a bald eagle will actually catch up with a flock of geese. And what they do is they go underneath them, and the bald eagle will turn upside down and sink its talons into the belly of the goose, and then flip back normally, and then fly down and tear them to pieces on the ground.
That's so fucking dope. God.
Isn't that badass?
Yeah.
Bald eagles are cool. Why can't, we should have them as our national animal because,
Right?
they're dope as heck.
I'm not stopping anything, but I do hear an enormous amount of noise coming from somebody.
Yeah, Braden's fan
Enormous
has been
amount.
crazy during live.
Oh, is it the fan? Okay.
I have it on a book and like stuck out. I don't know.
That's okay. There's probably nothing you can do then. Don't worry about it.
Probably not. Sorry.
No worries. Okay, this next one is for Tessa,
Yes.
right? Yeah. How big was the biggest bald eagle nest they ever found?
So, surprising fact about bald eagles. For big birds, they're super minimalist. The biggest nest that they ever found was only 1 foot by 1 foot square. And it was actually just 4 twigs on a branch bound together by a little bit of grass. And the bald eagle just sat in that square and left.
Yeah.
And after a couple weeks of observing this, they noticed that the square just fell to the ground and the bald eagle continued to go to the branch and sit down.
Yeah.
So we don't know how big other nests might be. We can assume probably not a lot bigger, but yeah. They're
Or they might just be,
great at killing
sitting.
geese, but they're just terrible at building nests.
What if they're Swedish and they're just really minimalist?
That's what keeps. That's
like-
interesting that you say that. Is that all bald eagles are actually descendants from Eric the Red, who came to Canada way back when. He was one of the first white people to discover it. He brought all of his bald eagles, and that's why they're only in America. Is because they're Swedish eagle. Yeah, I'm a Swedish eagle
tied
farmer.
Eagle.
A
The real
Swedish
answer-
eagle farmer. My crop is very good. Yeah.
The biggest nest they found was 10 feet wide. So that seems like a lot, but if you think about a 6-foot wingspan, I mean, that kind of makes sense. The real crazy number is that it was 20 feet deep. So that's 3 meters wide, 6 feet deep. If you think about what that would look like
You
when you
said
found it.
20 feet deep and then 6 feet deep.
Sorry, 3
Honey.
meters across, 6 meters deep.
So where was it? Was it in a mountain or on a tree or what?
I looked for it, and I couldn't actually confirm that, but I did see that number a few times. I just couldn't see where they found it exactly, but I can assume it was in something stronger than just a tree. You know
I
what I
feel
mean?
like it had to have been a tree because, they wouldn't talk about the nest being so deep if they just used a cave. And I doubt bald
yeah,
eagles
that's a good
carved
point.
a hole themselves with those little beaks.
Yet another reason why someone who actually knows stuff about animals should be doing this podcast. Why do we do this podcast?
Because it's our
I
most
think it was just
popular
a cool
podcast.
idea we had.
Yeah.
It's our most popular podcast. We
So
can't
yeah,
give it
everyone
up
loves
now.
this podcast.
It's our baby.
So bald eagle mating, I literally just I read through it and it was like, oh, it's like bird shit. We've done
do they
bird
hold
shit
hands
by now.
beforehand like hawks do?
No,
Everybody,
you ask that every
cloaca?
time. Cloaca, yeah. One interesting thing is their mating season is often way longer or way earlier than most other birds. Probably just because they're huge, so they can they've got more ability
They
to
gotta
survive
grow it.
exposure. Yeah,
Yeah.
lots of reasons, I'm sure.
I
All right,
do
let's
wanna
move on to the
mention-
cooler animal.
I want to mention
Go
that the typically when you hear a bald eagle cry in film, that's not a bald eagle cry. That's a red-tailed hawk cry.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because bald eagle cries. I've heard some people call them, I guess they kind of squawk or they do like a grunt like pigs, but they do have that like, "Arr, arr," like that really pretty little trill that I have heard a couple times in movies. But all of those like, "Sir," like that's just a red-tailed hawk.
See, and when I was doing my research, I kept hearing the same call from bald eagles, and it was like, I'm bald! I'm bald!
Oh,
They're
see,
like
yeah,
Pokemon.
that's
I don't think people know that a lot of wild animals just say their name.
that's where
their
Pokemon got its
English name.
inspiration from.
Yeah. See, people... Oh, yeah. Yeah. People don't know that in Japan, all their animals say their own names. And that's why Pokemon is actually... It's a poaching simulator.
But what's really funny is that in Japan, they don't say their own names in Japanese. They say
No.
their own names in English.
What?
What? It's so
Yeah.
weird.
Mr. Mime. Yeah. Because in Japan, it would be Mr. Mime.
Mystery Mime.
Jinxity! Okay.
Pikachu. That's
what
my
it
main
actually
in
sounds like.
Smash Bros. I'll just come out, go out there and say it.
All right, the mole. Brayden. Let's do some fucking mole questions. Okay, Brayden.
Yo.
How do moles breathe underground?
Well, there's the trick of it. They don't breathe above ground.
Oh, shit. Okay. So they just don't breathe. They don't process oxygen.
They don't need to.
They don't have to.
need to. I don't know how it works. I just
do.
know that's not...
I learned about
How
it in
it
my
works.
religious summer camp, is that God blesses every mole with a certain number of breaths.
So it's like eggs? Like,
So
you only have so many
but
periods?
with life. So God will just goes to every mole as they're being born and breathes life into them, and then the
Yeah.
mole has a countdown clock. So that's why moles try not to have anxiety attacks, because then they breathe
Yeah.
more, hyperventilate, and die sooner.
They are known to
really
avoid
sad.
anxiety. That's true. The real answer is they actually have... It's not that interesting, I guess. But they have a...
Is it out their butt?
No, they... Like, everyone has hemoglobin in their blood, right? Which are just, special
Of course.
tool... Of course.
Yeah,
Who
we
doesn't
all know what
that, really?
hemoglobin is.
Obviously.
Come on.
From
I
the
eat
Latin
that
hemo...
shit every day.
From the Latin hemo, which means
Hemo.
blood, and globin, which means goblin. That's the name of my metal
Yes.
band, Blood Goblin. Anyways, so they have one of their hemoglobins. They have in a very high concentration, and that is the hemoglobin that extracts oxygen. So actually, they're doing the same thing that we're doing, except they're just doing it at a way higher
better.
efficiency rate. Right? They also can, because of that, they can rebreathe their own breath. So they can
Christ
breathe
on
out and then
They can
reprocess
recycle
it.
and get it again.
Yeah.
I mean, humans can do that too.
Sort
I
of.
wanted to do that.
It's just harder for us because we've got to put an apparatus on us.
All right, Tessa, next question. How many fingers do moles have?
7, split between their 4 legs. They don't have the same amount of fingers on each foot. It's weird.
It's weird, and it's not always the same foot,
It's
right?
like a grab bag. I saw a mole. He had 7 fingers on his right hand. That's it. The rest. were
Okay,
just
so the real
little
answer
nubs.
is you're actually really close. They have 5 fingers and 1 thumb.
Nice.
So they actually, it's some people call it like a pseudo thumb. There's a special name for it, but I think
It's a
also
cloaca.
pandas
Scientists
have
just
it.
use that name again.
Cloacas, yeah.
They
It's
just
a
call it a
hemi-penis.
cloaca.
No, it's just used to grip with, right? And obviously,
Because a thumb functions differently than an extra. They don't have a thumb like we have thumbs. They
No,
just
yeah,
have
they don't.
Something else, but it helps to grip.
it's like a finger at a different angle, basically, right?
Nice.
I recommend everybody look up pictures of moles because it's kind of something where you always think you know what it is, but then you look it up and it's like, what?
They're way smaller than I thought.
They're really small, but also their front legs are huge and
They're
their back
really
legs are tiny.
My experience with moles is the Redwall books, and that didn't
No,
prepare
this
me
is-
for what they are in real life.
This is actually exactly what I was thinking of.
And then if you're already pretty familiar with a mole, look up the star-nosed mole. And that is like the epitome of freaky
Like
mammals.
the regular
that-
mole's cooler older brother.
Like a rat that Cthulhu fucked.
Moles are really cute, though, guys. Can we talk about it? They're just like little fuzzy black sausages that got these gloves on.
Oh, God.
And they got a tiny little tail.
Oh, look at the baby
They're
moles.
so cute.
They look like
All right,
little
Braden.
Bobby dolls. Okay, let me at
Okay,
it.
Braden. What survival tactic do moles use when food is abundant? Oh, similar question, Mikhail. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I know. I'm glad they tied together thematically.
Oh, God. What survival tactic do they use when food is abundant?
Yeah.
So, like, bald eagles grow a crop. What do moles? Do they also farm?
So when food is abundant, a mole actually the breathing you mentioned earlier, it actually works in the same way with food. So they breathe in the food so they can process it
And their
into their blood
hemoglobins take out
very
all the-
slowly.
That's so cool. Good job, moles.
You know what? The real answer is like so much more terrifying than that.
Oh God!
Okay. This is cool. So, do you guys remember how in the shrew in book 2, how the shrew had like paralytic venom or something like that?
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember that? And it was like, what the fuck? Shrews have fucking venom.
Yep.
Moles do too. Apparently, they have toxins in their saliva that they use to paralyze worms, because worms is like their main source of food, which we learned in Animorphs anyways. But they paralyze the worms and put them in what's called a larder, which is basically just a
They just
storeroom
have a cellar
full of worms.
Full of worms.
Yeah, and scientists have found larders with over 1,000 worms in it.
Just like all tangled together like a rat king.
Oh, Worm King! Oh, fuck! Oh, that's fucked. The image of that. Like, can you imagine digging up your backyard, being like, "Oh, I'm gonna start like a garden this year," and it's like fucking pile of worms. Ugh.
That would be the most horrifying thing to find as a kid. Oh my god.
Yeah, I would shit my
You
pants
just
instantly.
fall into, you're like digging and then you fall into the pit of swirling worms.
Speaking of swirling worms, Tessa,
Yeah.
moles largely eat worms, which we just
Yes.
learned. How do they hunt worms?
Okay. So sit back. This one's going to take a little bit.
Oh, this is a Braden-esque answer.
It is. It all started. Well, it started as most things start when God breathes the breath into the moles. But they're trying to hunt. So see, moles first they tried to chase after their food and it didn't work. So they got the council of moles together to figure out, okay, how are we actually going to eat? Because we're supposed to have 6 fingers and now we only have 7 amongst all 4 of our feet. This is fucked up. So they decide that they're going to infiltrate worm colonies and pose as friends. So moles, the only language that they speak is worm. They have lost their own concept of language. But what they'll do is they'll go to a worm colony and pretend to be a worm. They'll send one of their guys, usually, because the moles are so big, they can't afford to put more than one mole in a worm colony. Mm-hmm. But they'll send one mole in there, and he will be a worm, and he'll talk to the worms, and the worms believe him to be a worm. He's the mole. And when the time is right, he goes to the Worm King and infects him with his venom. And then just drags him off to the larder.
Wow, that was a way better answer than the real answer, which is literally they dig runs, like tunnels essentially, and then they wait for worms to accidentally fall into them, and they just pick them up.
Nice.
That's literally it.
I thought it was going to be that or their sensitive nose feeling it out.
Oh, that is how they find the worms, because they can sense vibration really well, but they can also sense touch, which is obviously a function of vibration in a way. But they just kind of feel for it because there's no light down there, right? So yeah. Okay, Braden, last question.
Give it to me.
What do moles do to worms immediately before eating them?
Well, this is why they got those big, long fickers. They give them the tickles. They give those little worms the tickles.
That's how they ingratiate themselves to the worms before the
Diddle,
venom
diddle, diddle,
hits.
diddle, diddle, diddle.
You're not totally wrong. I refuse to add to this sound effect fest. So what they do is they actually hold them in between their two paws, their front paws, and then they'll
Give them a
pull
big
them.
kiss.
They pull them, presumably with their teeth, through their paws and squeeze their paws. And what that does is it actually kind of like freezes the dirt out of the worm's guts.
Oh my god.
If you know what I mean.
So
Like
they
it'll
squish the
squish it
shit out of the worm
Exactly. They
and then
absolutely
eat
do.
it.
Yeah, man.
Moles are badass.
Wolves are pretty awesome. I had a good time researching them. The
Well,
mating,
how do they fuck?
I could not find a ton of information
I
other
think
than
they
like,
lay eggs.
yeah, definitely hashtag mole eggs. Okay, so the ritual part was interesting. Most of what I could find was essentially these same words over and over again. Males will screech and scream and travel through foreign areas that they have not already dug in and wait to encounter a female.
I mean, because they can't see, so they're just like,
I know.
Hey! Hey! I got a cock!
Exactly. I just imagine worms
you
like,
want me
hey, yo, B. Hey, yo, B.
Hey, yo, B! Who want this dick?
The actual act of copulation is pretty mammalian, like it's from behind kind of thing. I did find out that their genitals are almost identical. The women's, like, kind of vagina, if you want to call it that, I guess.
Wait,
I'm sure
so
there's a
both
scientific
moles have
word.
vaginas?
No, both moles have penises, or what looks like penises.
Really?
So they both stick out. Yeah. It's kind of a, what is it? What was that monkey that has that? Spider monkey? It's kind of that situation.
Nice.
All right, guys. That was great. We did awesome. One last thing we need to do, which is the hypothetical question of the week.
All right, give it to me. Hypothetical question of the week.
Hypothetical question of the week.
Question of the week.
Question of the week.
So, here's another, it's kind of another fight scenario. Let's say you're in a room. And
They're
the
all
room,
okay. Can I just say, I love how the hypothetical question is all about like fighting, or which one would you date if it had like a human sentience?
We had that one question about which one would you hunt, cockroaches
Oh
or
yeah,
tigers.
which one would you
Yeah.
try to hunt? Yeah,
That's
that
good.
one was a good one. Or like
Okay,
which one
okay.
would you
And
be
I
stuck
made the
as?
right choice.
And it was cockroaches, wasn't it?
No, he
I
chose
made-
tiger.
no, I chose tiger.
cockroach.
Cockroach is the better choice.
Yeah,
Oh, no, tiger.
cockroach is a way better choice.
You're still young. You'll learn.
You can sit. You can kick. I could kick a tiger's ass because I am a smart fucking human.
Call out to all tigers. Brayden is
To all
issuing a
tigers.
challenge.
Brayden, you want to know where he lives? I'll tell you the address. Email us at dorkbajirchronicles@gmail.com. Tigers
send me a-
square up.
Send me a message on Fighty77 Powerboards. So here's a hypothetical question. If you're in a room that had no characteristics at all, that was 40 square feet, like the area of the floor was 40 square feet, it was a square room, and it was only 10 feet high, with nothing else, totally smooth walls and floor. And in that room, there was one bald eagle and 15, let's say, golden moles. Which is just like a
They're
slightly
really
bigger
cute.
but normal ass mole. Mm-hmm. Who would win, and like who would survive the longest? And here's some caveats: the eagle has a human brain, but the moles don't have a human brain.
Oh, so they're fighting.
But both animals are starving to death and have
They're
been
starving.
for a while. Yeah.
Interesting.
Cool. The eagle would win.
Why would the eagle win?
It's got talons and a beak. The only thing that the mole can do is squeeze shit out of a worm
No.
that it felt
moles
with its
have big
sensitive
front teeth.
nose.
They
They also have big front teeth. Yeah, the eagle will swoop down and slash it and swoop up, swoop down, slash, swoop up, and
Yeah.
will do this for all
Yeah.
of them.
Okay,
So if they're
the
all
room is
starving-
10 feet tall. The room is 10 feet tall. The eagle is
Kate!
40 feet, or
Kate!
6 feet. 40
Hey,
feet.
what
is
the
6 feet
fuck,
across.
Mikhail? You said that one osprey would win versus one horse in a soccer
In a
match.
soccer game.
And then now an eagle can't, with the brain of a human, can't kill 10 fucking moles? 15 moles?
Okay, you got to think. What's the eagle's biggest strength, right? Flying.
Human
That's a
brain.
huge one.
The human brain is its biggest strength, Mikhail.
Okay, sure. Whatever you want to call it. Now, how do you stop? Remember, the moles are insane for flesh, and they eat meat, right?
They eat
But they're not
worm
fast.
meat. There's
No.
no mole that's ever
they are
eaten
fast.
a bird.
Not on ground.
Well, I mean, they're not like super slow. The
Yeah, but they
eagle
can't
essentially
move
can't
vertical.
fly. The eagle essentially can't fly. It's only 10 feet tall. That's a normal room, right? Like an
Yeah.
eagle is huge. And remember, 40 square feet is only, how big is that per
That's
side?
like 10 feet by 4 feet.
Sure, let's go with that.
It's not square, but like
No, it's not.
big. It's still big enough that this eagle with it's got a 10-foot wingspan. It will graze, but it can still fly. And
See,
even
I don't
if it's
think
just
you've ever
walking
seen
around,
like an eagle take off because
even
they
if
cannot
it's just
fly in
walking
10
around,
feet.
it's still got its claws and it's still got its beak. Whereas the mole only
Yeah.
has 2 teeth and is blind.
There's 15 of them.
Yeah, they're not going to work together. They're moles.
No,
An
but they'll
eagle would
swarm
be
the
able-
eagle.
An eagle
They
would
don't
be
know
able
how to swarm.
to just like bite an eagle would bite them and just would swallow these moles whole. It would literally get
It can't do
it's
that.
only up for it's only uphill for this eagle in this fight in the positive sense.
Also, moles are predators, sure. They do still get eaten up by other predators, so they've got that prey instinct. They don't have
Also,
a human brain
if
to
the eagle-
override that. The eagle's
They're
just going to
starving.
scream, ah! And the moles are going to run away.
Oh, also the eagle has a 10-foot wingspan and a human brain.
6
Six
foot.
foot.
6 foot.
6-foot wings. It's got what does that mean? Like a 3-foot wing each?
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of.
It's gonna use these things to just buffet the moles around, like slap them,
Yeah.
slap them about.
Mole pancakes. Mole
This thing
spaghetti.
has. It may not be
It's a
okay.
whole mole
Maybe it can't
smorgasbord.
fly. It could certainly. It has a hell of a vertical, and it has complete control of this battlefield.
Okay,
They
okay.
still
Moles are
jump.
fucked.
What
There
would
are
happen
eagles that
if-
like have been injured and can't fly anymore, and they will they kind of do little hops and stuff, and like flap their wings to get a little bit of height. They can't fly, but they can kind of still swoop down, not far enough to fuck up a mole.
Well, okay, so first of all, it's 15 moles, so you don't forget that. Also,
They're not going to work together. They're not pack
what if
animals.
what if the moles had the brain of a human? How do you think
Okay,
it would
then
change?
then I feel like it could go either way.
Okay.
Because
Sure.
they're 15 moles, but that's 15 people. 15 people, are they going to work together in this situation?
I think the
don't have to
eagle
work
still
together.
has this one. It just has such a flat advantage. Like I said, with those
yeah.
wings,
Like,
they're
the
just so
eagle's
much
gonna
stronger.
but
The
I
moles
feel
can't.
like if
They're
you
blind.
ran,
They're blind.
Okay.
They're
Okay.
blind.
Okay.
If you ran the
What if it's
simulation-
what if it's 100 moles?
okay,
Oh gosh,
They
that would
wouldn't-
kill
they
one
would-
normal human.
Like,
Yeah, of course.
That's a
okay.
lot of moles. Yeah.
we're running the physics simulation. Boop, you put your little bald eagle guy in the room, and then you click the button, and a torrential rain of moles pile into
that's
this
literally
room
enough to
and crush the
physically
bird.
crush the eagle.
Look, okay, fuck you guys, because you know how hard it is to come up with a question where it evenly matches a fucking raptor and moles.
Well, no, okay, there was
Okay.
still an argument there.
There's
You
an
made the
argument.
argument.
And I like the
It's
idea
just
if
me
they
and-
both have human brains, then I feel like if you ran the simulation, there are going to be times that the moles win. But
I
it
think so,
depends on
too.
the human brains. Like 15 prey animals have to work together in this dangerous situation, whereas the one eagle just has to deal with himself.
I think if they all had animal brains, the moles might actually win because it would
No.
just be frenzy. Well, because the bird
Yeah.
doesn't know how to deal with that situation. Like they're
Yeah,
not ever
eagles
in a
don't
box.
have strategy. It would
Yeah.
be a flip, but honestly, any animal
Well,
fight,
Kate-
it's a flip of a
Kate,
coin.
Brandon,
Yeah.
man,
What?
you're just saying eagles don't have strategy, like moles have strategy.
I'm saying neither of them have strategy, and that makes it a 50-50 shot for either team.
I feel like even if they were all animals, the eagle would still win just because it's got that beak.
Yeah, but like eagles don't have... It has to get down... Even if it did use the beak, it would have to get down there and risk a mole getting like a bite at its eye or a bite at its neck and just getting a lucky like bleed out.
Here's a special episode because we're going to have Tessa's twist on the hypothetical question of the week.
Oh, God. Okay.
It's one bald eagle,
18 of the 18 moles and 2 gay moles.
It's one bald eagle, 15 moles. They all have human brains, and they're playing StarCraft. Who would win?
Oh. Sorry.
Why would the moles win in StarCraft? They can't see.
Wait.
No, okay, so the moles are going to be using technology where they will the reader will read what's on the computer screen, and they can type like what's happening. They have special pads. It's a little bit slower, but there are 15 of them. Whereas in the other chair, in the other black and red classic gamer chair with his headset, there's one bald eagle, and he's going Zerg.
I think the moles might actually win, but it's only because multiple brains.
Wait a minute.
For
I feel like the moles would win that one.
Yeah, if the eagle is using Zerg, literally no matter what the moles will not be fast enough. This eagle will Zerg rush him.
Well, but he's just one guy, and what if the moles do... Not Terran, who was the blue one?
Terran.
Protoss.
Yeah, Protoss were my favorite, because they seemed the fanciest. So the moles are
Especially
Protoss, and the eagle is Zerg.
Blind moles. So, yeah, no, that eagle, even though it doesn't have as... It does not have as agile of manipulators as 15 moles do. The moles are fit. There's 15 of them. They're nearly blind. They're gonna be slower to the pull.
They're not even gonna be able to see what's... Okay, no, I have the twist on this question.
Protoss are so slow a build. They are not going to be able to do it.
I have the twist on this question that's going to end the episode.
Okay.
And it's, what if it's one eagle versus one mole, but the mole is malignant?
Oh!
Hey! Next week, we'll be talking about Animorphs number 18, The Decision.
I actually wanted to answer that.
Denied.
And the following week, we'll be talking about the morphs from that book, or maybe just having a eulogy for a dead eagle. You never know.
You never know. It's nothing but twists and turns here on Live from the Gardens. And until next week, you can find more of our stuff on our podcast page, collectivelegacy.org. We've also got Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram, and Facebook. Oh, and while you're on collectivelegacy.org, feel free to check out some of the other podcasts that we've got up there. There are some good ones. Mikhail's on one called Inadmissible.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for the shout out. Tessa's on one called Rolling Solo, D&D. You know how it is.
Super nerdy. There's one it's actually like one of my favorite ones to listen to right now. It's called Wamp Talk Radio, where the host just like, and the host will bring on a guest and they'll talk about whatever the guest wants to talk about, basically.
And make sure to like, subscribe, and follow us on iTunes or wherever you find podcasts.
And if you don't, we're going to smush the poop out of you.
Oh, just start at the top and just squish.
That's what they call a deep tissue massage.
Oh,
we're gonna
real
squeeze the tissue out of you into a deep hole.
You know, it's really gross because I did that in high school when I was dissecting a pig.
Oh no!
I poked the poop out of the intestine.
And was that pig called Your Budding Sexuality? You dissect? Never mind. All right.
It wasn't it wasn't science class. It was health class. We were learning.
There was a guy in my class who cut a section off the pig's intestine and like wore it like a ring for the rest of class.
Oh god,
that's really gross.
You know, I've heard that like in anatomy classes when they have people who donated their bodies to science, that if you laugh or make a single joke, you can get an F in that class and they won't let you back in.
I believe
That's how seriously they take it.
It's serious. And as a doctor, you got to learn how to be serious when people come to you with like, yeah, I've got like Lego figures stuck up my butt.
Yeah, exactly.
Mikhail, you failed. You failed being a doctor.
For the fanworks, I've failed at being Mikhail, the host.
I failed at being Tessa, the expert.
I'm Brayden, and I have a song in my heart about eagles with cancer.
That had cancer.
This has been Live from the Gardens, a Animorphs podcast about how to be a convincing doctor. Good night. If you'd like to correct or clarify any of the poorly researched animal facts in this episode of Live from the Gardens, feel free to contact us on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook by searching for Animorphs, the Dork-Bajir Chronicles. And remember, stay safe, stay hidden.
Hello everyone, and welcome to Roland Solo.
My character is Snick the Kobold Slayer.
She is a gnome ranger. The gnome ranger. I just realized that.
Roland Solo is a multi-character story that takes place in Aland, a country full of betrayal, hope, loss, and destiny.
Ooh.
Our characters are ferocious, strong, and smart, but are they able to withstand the story that is playing out before them?
Whoa, wait a second.
And I'm a dirty hippie.
Does he have a bow?
I thought he had a bow.
I forget.
I think he had a bow.
Plot relevant mammoths. Can I roll for plot, Tessa? This is gonna sound bonkers.
And will the DM be able to make this story make sense?
Yeah!
New episodes every second Friday on collectivelegacy.org or wherever you download podcasts.
Brought to you by
Collective Legacy.
a podcast network.